Hello, welcome to the Trews from the True Era Cafe. The best-selling books in the world are no longer Bibles, Qurans, or interesting scientific introspectives on the workings of anatomy and the universe. They're colouring books. What has turned us into terrified divs that want to live in childish stupors? Let's have a look at some true news.
Adult coloring books, it's what's trending.
Move over meditation. There's a new creative way to relax.
Move over meditation. You can't replace meditation, contact with your innermost self, true consciousness, and perhaps a cosmic consciousness behind all reality, with colouring in. Move over family life. It's skipping. Incorporate it, if anything. Don't start replacing the fundamental facets of your life with colouring in.
These days, more adults are turning to the childhood staple to find their zen.
It's almost as if adults have been hypnotised into a state of perpetual fear. What could be doing that?
Bomb them.
There is no discussion needed on race.
Keep bombing them.
What part of this can't you get through your thick head?
Bomb them again and again.
And Laura DeFranco is helping them do it.
We wanted to make coloring okay for adults.
Yeah, that's the issue. Let's overcome the taboo around colouring in. That's what's really holding us back as a species.
Turns out picking up a crayon can quickly chase the blues away.
This colouring in item wouldn't seem so sarcastic if America wasn't a country fraught with division around colour. Why don't you just colour the people of Ferguson in a nice shade of pink? There! That's better now.
Here's the list of reasons why. It's something everyone can do. There are no rules.
All of these things are applicable in your own life. I mean, I suppose you can't argue with the fact if people are buying these books, then obviously it is fulfilling a need. But what is this need? What is this disconnect? What have we lost that the answer to us seems to be, look, I'm just going to do some colouring in. Please leave me alone.
Next, it transports you back to simpler times.
Ah, good old simpler times. Oh, my life's still exactly the same. No! Picking your nose and eating it! And bullying a kid in your class! Can't just retreat into childhood and hope that the adult problems of the world will disappear. I mean, this is an apocalyptic end of days item that adults are so terrified, so mentally ill and frustrated that they're going to regress to a second childhood rather than face up to the very adult problems we have of approaching Armageddon, ecological meltdown, sort of an all-encompassing near-total inequality, breakdown of the state. Okay, it's all going to be fine.
Forget the latest Harper Lee novel.
Forget Harper Lee and her challenging novel To Kill a Mockingbird, where children all around the world that study at school are forced to face up to the injustice of racism. Forget that and do some colouring in.
Or even biography of Steve Jobs. It's these.
That bloke's got to stand there. I told you I wasn't comfortable doing this.
2 books that are topping Amazon.com's bestseller list.
Doctor, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. So what is it about coloring when you're an adult?
That bloke's weird, isn't he? Look at him leafing through the book now. Focus on your interview. Oh, I'd like to be colouring this in right now. I'm sick of being a news anchor. I could be at home just picking my ass and colouring in.
It's very relaxing. It's the one thing you can do that is just about you. It's not about your kids. It's not about your job.
It's not the one thing you could do. It's a really simplistic analysis. There's loads of things you could do. You could go and garden, grow some vegetables, you could pray, you could go and chat to a stranger. I suppose what this is it demonstrates there's been such an eclipsing of freedom, an eclipsing of our connection with one another, that people, if correctly marketed to, will just sit and benignly colour in like slobbering idiots because they're so unhappy. I'm starting to think I might do so.
It helps with sleep disorders. If you're somebody
Really?
if you have any kind of insomnia, this is a great way to disconnect.
Who needs a sleeping pill when I got Benny and Smith?
You might want to look at that sleeping pill issue separately.
I think adults like it because it's a little nostalgic. We know how to do this.
That's right.
I mean, we know how to do this. Maybe you're under daily pressure to conduct news items about ridiculous subjects, and you sort of think, I'm going to take the whole bottle of pills tonight.
The nostalgia part's a big thing. I mean, there's a lot about nostalgia going on in our culture right now.
Actually, revivalism, pastiche, and the repetition of nostalgic ideas is one of the signs of the coming apocalypse, that nothing new is emerging and people sort of look backwards into the past for answers.
You know, adults are playing kickball.
Sure.
They're doing things that they used to do when they were kids. This is just another thing that they're doing, but psychologists are really happy about this one.
Colouring books have always been available. At any point in history, adults could have neglected their adulthood and said, why don't I just start colouring in instead? But we've chose not to. The reason that this is happening is because colouring books are now advertised as stress relievers. Is there any way we could be selling colouring books to adults? Well, I don't know. What would be the fucking point? Well, for money. Say that they're stress relievers? Yeah, they'll probably buy that. Oh, we will.
But you know what people like about coloring books? There is no correct answer.
Do you know what? I like about coloring books, there's no correct answer. Like, a lot of time, I come on Fox News and I say, for example, the people of Ferguson deserve to be shot. Then I get home and my wife tells me that actually that's wrong. But with coloring, she can't tell me that.
Exactly. If I want to make the sky orange, I'm going to make the sky orange. If I want to make the leaves purple, that's my prerogative.
That's a big point.
Is that what we're doing now? That's what we're doing, drawing purple leaves, when the very reason that people are stressed and require colouring books in the first place is because Fox News is pumping out fear-based information 24 hours a day, stopping briefly to sell you a colouring book. Right, there's ISIS, there's a racial breakdown, there's nothing we can do, there's no such thing as climate change, shut your fucking mouth. Are you feeling nervous? Colour this in.
There's so many things over the course of your day that get judged. So this is nice to have just this, that has nothing to do with anything else.
How about dealing with some of the many problems that are being exposed with this simple piece of analysis? A culture of judgment, people being terrified, overly complicated cultures, entrenched in technology that's not being used to free people, but to enslave people. No. Let's just sell more colouring books.
But it is okay to color outside the lines, right, Doctor?
And you should. I encourage it. And the other thing is, if you look at the research also on...
It's terrible at his job. Do you like this colouring? Yeah, just fuck off, okay? I'm colouring in. Sorry, that didn't go well. Don't use that bit.
So if you go to a therapist with your child, they'll have your child play and draw.
Because probably your children are fucked as well. So you're fucked, your children are fucked, and here's what we're suggesting. Colouring in.
If you're just too stressed out and you're having trouble falling asleep, maybe the adult coloring book is for you.
That's my suggestion.
They are #1 and #2 on Amazon right now, and you just gave us the reason, Dr.
Exactly.
Lawrence. Thank you.
I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Fox's parent company owns the publishers that made those colouring books. I bet they own at least one of them, but even if they don't, what they are part of is an ideology that tells you can solve your problems by purchasing things, whether it's beer or a car or oil or a house or some shoes or a colouring book or some pharmaceutical pills, that the solution to the way you feel is buying an object and doing something passive and individualistic, instead of the actual answer, which is the only way to solve your problems, is to become engaged in communal, collective activity and challenge the very interest that Fox News represents. If you want to colour something in, colour in your own heart with the glorious red of revolution. Colour your own fist with the white of power, purity and change, and get out into the streets and change the world. Also, pop down to the Trews Cafe. All the money goes to good causes, by which I mean these delicious little cups. Subscribe here. Go there.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.